Hey y'all, it's your girl Erica Vane back again with a breakdown from the series Sistas. You know what? Let me cut the BS. It's a hell nah for me. Let's talk about episode 3. A lot has happened in this episode. However, the only thing that is blaring big fat emergency exit stranger danger get the f on alerts is this dang on impromptu wedding that I called in my episode 2 breakdown. I knew that Gary was onto some BS. I knew that Gary was up to something, and I knew that he was going to pull this surprise wedding on Andi. And why does something in my soul tell me that Andi's going to be dumb enough to go through with it? But before I get into the wedding, let's talk about the rest of the episode. Episode 3 picks up right where episode 2 left off, and we find Zach in the airport returning the bag to the lady who left her laptop bag on the airplane, and instead of giving him a tip, Sis gives him a stock tip, an insider trading stock tip that could potentially help make him a quick windfall of cash. And though he ultimately doesn't go through with following up on this tip, or we believe, because honestly in this episode we don't necessarily know what he does after he leaves the lady's hotel room when he goes back for the follow-up breakdown on how he could actually use the stock. Once she actually proposes that he does this, she gives him $50,000 so that they can split the difference because she's about to get some divorce. It's reading messy Karen for me. It's reading putting this black man in a position to go to jail for me, and I'm so glad that Zach said that it's a no for him and walks out the door. But I don't know. I think that he might actually double back on the actual tip, even though he didn't take the money from the woman and use her money to actually place or buy the stock and get entangled with her in that. I could definitely see him bringing the information to Fatima and them doing something, but we don't get to see anything else from him about that after he actually leaves the hotel room and tells her, no, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm not going back to jail for you, lady. Absolutely not. And come on, Zach, with the evolution. Come on, Zach, with the protecting his freedom. Come on, Zach, with the I ain't going back to jail and nobody's going to tell me anything that's going to make me do so. Over at this dang on messy bank, honey, Jacoby is on his baby, please, and I'm already overseeing it, sir. I didn't want to see you butt naked in her kitchen last episode. I didn't want to see you waiting in her apartment to explain or to try to figure out how y'all can make something work. After so many no's, after so many curbs, just go ahead, take your pride, take your dignity, take your interest, and go ahead about your business, sir. Clearly, Sabrina does not want you. Even if she might be a little bit attracted to you, she does not want you. She wants Calvin. And I'm starting to get over, and it's only been 3 episodes, I'm getting over this whole fake love triangle that's happening. I need Sabrina to wake her ass up. I need Sabrina to have a real woman conversation with Calvin, get over her BS, put her big girl panties on, and be with that man, and stop dragging everybody else around her into this drama surrounding her and Calvin's relationship. In this episode, Sabrina's supposed to be helping, or Maurice tries to set up for Sabrina to help Calvin get his money back after the little messy boots sneaky link that hooked up in his room stole his checkbook and basically emptied out all his accounts. And I love Maurice, y'all. I think that he's a great addition to the cast. I think that his character is beautifully played, but he is a hot mess. He goes from wanting to be able to hook Sabrina and Calvin up or put them in situations that make them run into each other in the hopes that they get it together on their own, to talking mess with Calvin in the apartment like, you know what, she's moved on. No, she hasn't moved on. You haven't even talked to this girl. He's been giving Calvin advice this whole time and literally leading him 2 steps forward, 10 steps back. And I'm just like, at this point, Maurice, I'm gonna need you to shut up. At this point, Maurice, I'm gonna need you to mind your business. At this point, Maurice, I'm gonna need you to count these bank bills, do your drag shows, and live your best Sabrina free, Sabrina commentary free life, honey. Okay? Because you are not fixing anything. You ain't Ayanla. You ain't making no love connections. You are really causing problems and getting in the way. And before I get off of Sabrina, Calvin, Jacoby, and Maurice, honey, why did Jacoby hit that man in the bank? And why did Calvin fall this way? Sabrina, you better than me, sis, because deep down you really do want Calvin. I get it. He throws up all the flags that he's giving very feminine energy. That fall, honey. That fall was given very much so feminine energy, but you are in love with this boy. You like this boy. So go ahead and stand in your truth. That's your man. You like this man. And I don't think that she necessarily struggles with how feminine he presents in certain situations. I think she struggles with how people see him and what people think of her in relation to seeing him with her. And it's just like, girl, we too old for this. Love is love, and that's that. But Calvin, I really wish you would have felt out a little bit more macho, bro. Because when I tell you him hitting the ground in that way sent me, I was over here cackling. Cackling. Over in the messy boot camp number 2, child, Zach, I'm gonna need Zach. Do Zach got a church home? Do Zach got a therapist? Because I need him to get both. He is showing up at Fatima's job, honey, trying to get her back after the last conversation where he's talking about he's confused. He's clearly not going to let Karen go. He's still going to interact with Karen. He's still trying to figure out his feelings, but he's also not letting up. Like, he is applying pressure in this episode, showing up at Fatima's job, telling her that he's feeling her, telling her that he still wants to be able to talk to her, he still wants to be able to interact with her. And Fatima, girl, you was holding out. You was holding out strong. You was doing your thing. It appears in this episode like she's like, no, I'm going to dead it, because she has a conversation with Andi and she doesn't want any conflict. She values Andi as a boss. She values Andi as a friend, and she was really looking forward to getting introduced into the sister friend group, and she knows that this relationship is going to compromise that. So that is the number one reason why she's saying no to Zach. But she really is feeling Zach, y'all. Like, she's really into Zach. And then I think the more that he shows up, the more that he talks to her about how he feels about her, about what he thinks about their chemistry and all that, it's not helping. She's just falling more and more and more and more for him. And it's so funny to see, because Fatima does a really great job of keeping up this very, very tough exterior. But girl, we can see it. The girls, your sisters watching, honey, we can see it. You really into this man, girl. And it's okay. I'm still rooting for Karen and Zach, but I totally get the Fatima, shipping, because they do have really great chemistry. They do play off of each other very, very well. And Fatima does push Zach to be a better Zach. I'll tell you one thing, Andi got enough to worry about with this little surprise wedding and all this BS that Gary's going to continue to bring to her life and drag her through. But honey, you really don't need to be making things worse between you and Karen. She has her little "I'm not getting into it" statement with Fatima, but it's clear that she could potentially see Fatima and Zach together, to me, even though she says, I'm not going to betray my girl, but I've always liked Zach. Girl, mind your business, because honestly, when it comes to matters of the Hort, what you think don't even matter, sis, because you got it all messed up. Like, 100% you got it all messed up. Don't give nobody no advice. Don't talk about nobody else's relationship. Just be quiet, sit there and look pretty, because you got your own stranger danger, major alert, I done lost my thing on mine, and I need somebody to help me find it going on your own camp, okay? You got your own crap going on. Child, and that brings me to this dang on photo shoot, which turns out to be a wedding photo shoot, which turns out to be the actual wedding. I don't understand how everybody wasn't screaming from the moment they walked in and got the vibes. If y'all didn't get the vibes from Gary calling people, asking everybody to show up, if you didn't get the vibes from walking in and seeing Andi in this dang on wedding dress, how did y'all not get the vibes when you go to the rack for the bridesmaids dresses and they're all y'all's exact sizes? Down to the T. No extra, no surplus. Why weren't we screaming red alert right then? Because I know I would have been. A mess. Okay? A mess. While the girls are changing into their bridesmaid dresses, we get a little moment between Karen and Fatima, and that lets us know right there where they stand. Karen don't want no parts of Fatima. Karen don't want to be around Fatima. Karen is going to have all the smoke for Fatima. And no, she don't have a right to, because Fatima didn't know, but I get it. Like, I get her feelings. She is caught between a rock and a hard place in reference to her old feelings for Zach that are strong and ever present, and her new feelings for Aaron and where she should fall, and trying to figure out if she should go back to Zach. But then now this presents competition for her and Fatima. So girl, I get it, but y'all already know that I have been feeling Karen for a while she has been tripping and does some crazy stuff as well. Like, she ain't clean, y'all. I'm not letting her off scot-free. I do feel for Karen in the position that she's in, and I understand her feelings towards Fatima. But this whole wedding scene ain't about Karen or Fatima. It's about Andi and this raggedy ass Gary that she insists on loving. The episode ends on a cliffhanger when Gary finally shows up, replaces the stand-in groom, lets Andi know that this is not a photo shoot, that this is actually a wedding, and he wants her to marry him right now. And we don't necessarily get the answer because it's left on the cliffhanger. But I just got a question. I just want to raise a concern. Is anybody concerned that none of Gary's friends are here? None of Gary's family is here? He has absolutely nobody? That should be a telltale sign right there. You have nobody in your corner. Something's going on, sir. You done alienated everybody that has known you. Aaron ain't even there. And that's supposed to be your little homie, support, mentor, whatever is going on that we found out last season. He has literally nobody but this photographer who probably he hired is not even actually his friend. Nobody there to support this so-called nuptials. So to me, Andi, it's still giving he wants to abduct you, sis. It's still giving he wants to isolate you. It's still giving he just wants it to be you and him, even though he invited your girls to come and see it. This is the way that he locks you in and then slowly but surely gets to cart you off to this country house that you were so pissed off about, not to mention that the feds came and snatched all your stuff at. Did we forget? Did we need a reminder? I'm trying my best to have grace and patience for Andi in ruining her own life and love life, but it's giving the girlfriend that needs to get cut off. It's giving the girlfriend that keeps choosing violence for herself and doesn't know her worth. And while you can go through that with a friend, sometimes you gotta set up boundaries, and I could definitely see this continuing to stress not only the overall girlfriend group and worrying about Andi and all that she's been through, because they don't even know about the dang on wife coming in and pulling a gun on them. But also, she has a very intimate relationship, a very close BFF relationship with Karen. And child, if I was Karen, I'll be at my wit's end. Go ahead, do what you're gonna do, sis. When you figure it out, when you come to your senses, when you talk to Jesus and you remember how much you're worth, how amazing you are, how, you know, talented and smart and beautiful and just wonderful you are, come and holler at me. Because at some point, and this, I think this should be a whole other video, maybe I'll make another video about it, but some point, y'all, we cannot continue to ride every single roller coaster with our friends, especially when they are happily walking into the misery roller coaster. I'm just gonna say it. If your friends haven't told you that, or if y'all haven't had a conversation about that, you cannot, ride or die is not a great thing. I don't want to die with you. And I personally, watching the whole Andi thing play out, she reminds me of friendships that I have now separated from, because there was so much of an ask by way of me going through the things that you're going through with you, because I care just that deeply. Whether it's domestic violence situation, whether it's a super jealous, intimidating, verbally abusive person, whether it's a person who refuses to respect you and constantly cheating on you. And it's like, I can only go through this so many times, the same thing round and round and round, that so many times, because my feelings are invested from day one, because I care for you so very much. And every time that you're hurt, I'm ready to ride. Like, I really need to start doing story times on this channel, because I have done some crazy stuff for my friends. And I refuse to do that the entire life. And it feels like Andi thinks that everybody's supposed to, well, maybe she doesn't, because she's also didn't tell everybody about the gun and the ex-wife. So maybe she doesn't feel like everybody should be on the roller coaster with her, but she still wants to cultivate and keep these friends. Meanwhile, she's setting herself up to be unhappy and to be in a situation that's really ultimately toxic. So at some point, if you can't even choose yourself, then you can't be mad when your friends choose their self and separate from you. And I'm going to end my episode 3 breakdown here on that. I will do some separate videos throughout the week as we go into episode, or lead up to episode 4, y'all, so that we can talk about this a little bit more. One of the reasons why I'm really enjoying watching this show and covering it for this channel is because I love having these type of conversations about interpersonal relationships, especially ones that help me explore the things that I have gone through and learned from. Drop your thoughts about the episode, about this pop-up marriage, about Andi, and about what I have said in the comment section down below. If you're new here, I'm Erica Vane, and I'm breaking down Sistas every single week, as well as doing deep dive videos talking about different characters, plots, situations, and story angles. So you should really join the tribe and hit subscribe. I don't want you to miss any of my videos when they upload, and you won't want to miss them either. Be sure to like this video, before you go down to place your comment. I look forward to having a conversation with you. And if you missed any of my sisters coverage, you can watch all of my sisters videos in my All About Sisters playlist. Or if you're looking for something new to watch, check out these two things I got suggested for you right here. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.